returning angels, I know you're there. I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for all the comments you've been giving me. I appreciate it so, so much. So, tonight I thought I would do a video to help you guys relax and to help you drift off to sleep. Okay? And we're going to do that by reading. I'm going to read these book we've been reading, the stories behind the best love songs of Christmas. This book is so, so, so interesting. I actually tried to send this book to a friend of mine. She's an ASM artist. She lives in Texas. She has the most beautiful singing voice. Oh my gosh, she's such a beautiful singer. But the American one was still sold out because I have a Canadian account because I'm in Canada. But I also have an American one so that I can send things to people I know in the States. But the book was sold out when I tried to do it. So, can't do that. But I'll come up with something. I can send it to myself, I suppose. And then mail it out. Anyways, let's get you guys ready, shall we? Now, I know my returning people know exactly what to do and what we're going to do. But these new people, my special guests, they haven't done this before, so we're going to walk them through it, okay? So, we're going to get ready to relax. Now, I read this book because it has no illustrations, and because of the glare from my ring light onto my glasses, I do look down. So you don't have to look at the screen, okay? So if you want to wear a sleep mask, go for it. But the first thing, let's get your lighting the way you want it. Some people like it light, some people like it dark, some people like it in between, some people like a night light. The only thing that I say, it's anti-angel's only rule. No lit candles. These battery operated ones, perfectly safe. You can get them at Amazon, you can get them at the dollar store. But please, please, if you're relaxing to the point you might sleep, or you're trying to sleep, no lit candles. You guys mean way too much to me for you to take a chance, okay? Good. Then get yourself comfortable. And wherever you're comfortable, whether it's a bed, a couch, a chair, a chaise, a hammock, a sleeping bag, cushions on the floor, whatever makes you feel good. I've got cushions right now. I've got 2 cushions behind the small of my back because my back's been bothering me, and it feels really good to kind of sink into them. So feel free, sink into it. Okay, and then cover up if you want to cover up. Just be comfortable. Now, the next thing we're going to do is our breathing. We do this breathing technique whenever we want to relax, we want to sleep, we want to calm ourselves, we want to keep panic or anxiety at bay before it gets too bad, or when everything around us is kind of chaotic and we just need that minute just for ourselves. And y'all deserve that minute for yourself, okay? Don't be afraid to take it. Sneak into a closet, an empty office, an empty room, the bathroom if you have to, just to be able to do this for yourself, okay? So what we're going to do, and this is to teach our brain, which is the control center, to send the message out to the rest of our body to slow down. So we're going to breathe in through our nose for a count of 4. We're going to gently hold it for a count of 4. And then we're going to breathe out slowly through pursed lips for a count of 4. Okay? If you can't do that, if you can only do 1 or 2 count, do that. This is for you, okay? You do whatever you have to do, okay? So let's do the first one together. Breathe in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out. Very good. Next one. Breathe in. 2, 3, 4. Gently hold it. 1, 2. Good job. Last one together. 1, 2, 3, 4. Gently hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. Release. And just give yourself that second to let it go all down your body and just relax. Okay, so let's read some of these. I haven't chosen one yet. I need to put my glasses see if my favorite song is here. I don't think we've ever done it. Good King Wenceslas. I love this song so much, and I actually know the words to it. Let me just see if I can find it though. The problem is I can't read the numbers. I'm way off. Now I will tell you there's a cute story about this song though, because I told you it's my favorite Christmas song. Well, it would help if I actually knew the title of it. It's Good King Wenceslas. I always thought it was Good King Wenceslas. And the first line of the song was Good King Wenceslas last looked out. It's not. It's Good King Wenceslas looked out. So, there you go. I have messed up so many Christmas songs. Far Away in a Manger. Because the story, the animals knelt down at Jesus' birth. So I always thought that the line was, the cattle are lowering, because they were kneeling. I didn't know what lowing meant. And I taught a whole group of kids for our Christmas nativity play to sing it as the cattle are lowering. I was corrected by the priest. So, Good King Wenceslas. If all the ancient legends that surround Christmas, the tale about Good King Wenceslas, later spelled Wenceslas, okay, so they've spelled it differently in the book, stands out. Though the carol was composed by noted songwriter and priest John Mason Neale, the song is based less on the writer's inspiration than on historical fact. King Wenceslas was a real member of European royalty, a ruler who daily touched his subjects with Christian kindness and charity. For many in the Dark Ages, this king was the role model for Santa Claus. Today, over 1,000 years after his death, King Wenceslas remains a role model for Christian people everywhere. The son of Duke Borroway of Bohemia, Wenceslas had the good fortune to be raised by his grandmother Ludmila. Ludmila was a devoted Christian woman who taught her grandson the meaning of faith, hope, and charity. Wenceslas took his grandmother's lessons to heart, and in 922, when Duke Borroway was killed in battle, the youngster seemed ready to put what he had learned into action. At the tender age of 15, Wenceslas, just a few minutes older than his twin brother, Boleslas, was made the leader of Bohemia. As the young duke attempted to guide the troubled nation, his mother, Dramora, and his brother, Boleslav, instituted a pagan revolt. They assassinated Ludmila as she prayed, then attempted to overthrow Wenceslas. The teen took charge. He put down the rebellion, and in an act of Christian kindness, expelled his mother and his brother, rather than execute them. The tiny nation was amazed that the boy would react with such great mercy. With the wisdom of Solomon, the young duke set up a nation built on true justice and mercy. He enacted laws in the manner he thought would best serve his Lord. He even journeyed out into the country, seeking insight as to what the people actually needed. When possible, he shared everything from firewood to meat with his subjects. He would take pity on the poor and urged those blessed with wealth to reach out to those less fortunate. In large part due to Wenceslas's example, a host of pagan peasants turned to Christianity. It was a revival unlike any that had been seen in the country. When Wenceslas married and had a son, all of Bohemia celebrated. Peasants and powerful landlords sought the man out, offering their prayers for long life and happiness. With a smile on his face, the leader assured them that he was praying for their happiness as well. In the years that followed, the Duke and his subjects continued to share both their prayers and blessings with one another each day. Rarely had a leader been as universally revered as Wenceslas. and Wenceslas loved Christmas, centuries before gift-giving became a part of the holiday tradition. The young leader embraced the joy of sharing his bounty with others. Inspired by a sincere spirit of compassion, each Christmas Eve the Duke sought out the most needy of his subjects, and he visited them. With his pages at his side, Wenceslas brought food, firewood, and clothing. After greeting all that was in the household, the Duke would continue on to the next stop. Though often faced with harsh weather conditions, Wenceslas never postponed his rounds. Like a 10th century Saint Nick, the kindly young man made the night before Christmas special for scores and scores of family. For many, a Christmas Eve visit from the Duke was an answered prayer and a special reason to celebrate the birth of Jesus. In 929, when he was just 22 years old, Wenceslas was on his way to church for his daily prayers. As he greeted his subjects and took time to ask about their health, the warm look on the man's face assured each of them that he cared deeply about their welfare. Smiling and shouting greetings, he continued to the chapel. Just before entering, he heard a familiar voice. He must have been surprised when he saw his brother greet him. As a confused look crossed the Duke's face, Boleslas' confederates ran up to Wenceslas and stabbed him. Falling to his knees on the church steps, the dying ruler looked up and whispered, "Brother, may God forgive you." And he died. It was a group of powerful pagan leaders who had supported Boleslas' overthrow of Wenceslas. Amazingly, when the young man realized what he had done, the new duke turned away from his colleagues, and he embraced the faith that had guided his brother's life and rule. Though he had planned the revolt that had killed his twin, it was Boleslas who sustained the legend of Wenceslas. Thanks to the man who killed his brother, the crown of Wenceslas became the symbol of the Czech nation. John Mason Neale closely identified with Wenceslas in that he too reached out to saint and sinner alike. For more on Neale, we can see the essay on Good Christian Men Rejoice. We can read that later. Though often rebuked by Christians, Neale constantly tried to reform prostitutes, thieves, and even murderers. Any man or woman who ventured into his path felt the Englishman's loving touch. When not involved in his mission outreach, Neale spent a great deal of time reviewing ancient Latin songs and text, often translating them into English for use in church services. One of the stories he came across was the biography of Wenceslas. Sensing that the Duke would make a wonderful role model for children, Neale rewrote the old tale in verse form, making the Duke a king, and matching his lyrics to a Latin melody, Tempus Ades Floridium. It now seems ironic that Neale's Christmas carol would be sung to a tune that, when translated, meant "Spring has unwrapped her flowers." Yet, because Wenceslas brought his poorest subjects a breath of fresh air and warmth to the darkest winter days, perhaps his choice wasn't an accident. When published, Good King Wenceslas quickly became a holiday favorite in Europe. By the last part of the 19th century, it was sung throughout the United States as well. The carol was largely responsible for making the legend of Wenceslas known throughout the world, as it touched upon Bohemians' saints' examples of faith, hope, and charity. Suddenly, the symbol of Czech independence became the crown jewel of Christian living. One of the most telling facets of the Duke's legendary life can be found in the final verse of Good King Wenceslas. In the carol, the king reminds the page that when a person is alone, life is dark and bleak. But when a person reaches out to others, like Christ reached out to those in need, then the person never walks alone. Christ and those who have been touched by kindness are there to make each step of the journey easier and brighter. Just as the page's walk was made easier by following in the king's footsteps, so the king's way was made easier by following the steps of Christ. Wenceslas and Neale both held positions of importance. Either could have chosen to be served by others, yet each became devoted and gave their life in service. Both understood the tenets of faith, hope, and charity, and throughout their life reached out to others with compassion and love. Now the carol Good King Wenceslas reminds the world that the spirit of Christmas didn't begin with Santa Claus, and nor should it end there. It can be alive in all who chose to give with love and live by faith. I love this. Now I'm just going to read the song. I'm not going to sing it. That's my gift to you. Good King Wenceslas looked out on the feast of Stephen, when the snow lay round about, deep and crisp and even. Brightly shone the moon that night, though the frost was cruel, when a poor man came in sight, gathering winter's fuel. Hither, page, and stand by me, and if thou know it's telling, yonder peasant, who is he, where and what his dwelling? Sire, he lives a good league's length underneath the mountain, right against the forest fence by St. Agnes' fountain. Bring me flesh and bring me wine, and bring me pine logs hither. Thou and I shall see him dine when we bear them thither. Page and monarch forth they went together, through the rude wind's wild lament and the bitter weather. Sire, the night is darker now, and the wind blows stronger. Fails my heart, I know not how, I can go no longer. Mark my footsteps, my good page, tread thou in them boldly. Thou shalt feel the winter's rage will freeze thy blood less coldly. And in his master's steps he trod, where the snow lay dinted. Heat was in the very sod, which the saint had printed. Therefore, Christian men, be sure, wealth or rank possessing, ye who now will bless the poor, shall yourselves find blessing. I love it. I love that song. I had no idea of all of that either. I wish the names were a little bit easier, though, I have to be honest. Now, for those of you that are still up, let's read another one, shall we? Let's see, how about, let's do one I don't think we've done. How about, oh, I'm going to read Rudolph one more, not tonight, but I will be reading it one more time. I need that message to go out. And if anybody out there makes movies, the story behind Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and everything that happened that enabled that song to come out and the story, it would make an amazing Christmas movie. It really would, you guys. But let's read Silver Bells, okay? Okay. Jay Livingston and Ray Evans rank as one of the most successful songwriting teams in history. With Livingston composing the music and Evans writing the lyrics, the men scored time and time again, with award-winning hits such as To Each His Own and Another Time, Another Place. By the early 30s, having already taken Academy Awards for Buttons and Bows and Mona Lisa, the 50s, not the 30s, sorry. I was going to say, I know Mona Lisa. They were two of the most sought-after songwriters in the country. Every movie studio, radio show, and recording artist wanted their latest offering. Though they scored with hundreds of songs and sales, their tunes climbed into hundreds of millions. The two are now best remembered for a strange song about a horse and a beautiful ballad about Christmas. Both songs were so popular that most Americans of all ages can sing both. In 1951, Bob Hope was one of the world's brightest stars. His name not only guaranteed big box office response at the theaters, he already was a long-time radio star, and he had successfully made the move to television. Beloved for his selfless work with the USO tours in World War II and Korea, Hope was Mr. Christmas to many members of the U.S. Armed Forces, even though he never scored a hit with a Christmas song. From 1942 on, Bob spent every holiday season with men and women in uniform. Paramount Pictures scheduled Hope to film a remake of the movie The Lemon Drop Kid, a perfect vehicle for his trademark humor. Hope would play a small-time gambler who owed a large sum of money to the mob. Unable to pay it off, the kid would work a scam. In the midst of trying to outcon the cons, Bob's character would fall in love, reform, and escape a number of near-fatal attacks. Of course, Hope would also find time to sing a song or two. With a cast of great characters surrounding the star, the cast and film crew began work in 1951. Livingston and Evans, who had put together the wonderful score for Hope's box office smash, Paleface, were called in to write the score for the Lemon Drop Kid. As they reviewed the scripts, they noted that it was a holiday movie with a new twist. Holiday Inn, Christmas in Connecticut, and a long list of other films had been set in the country. Now, for the first time in Hollywood's history, songwriters were being asked to come up with a Christmas number that didn't embrace the pleasures of rural life during the holidays. It was a perspective American movies and songs had yet to explore. After determining where music was needed, the songwriters had a brainstorming session in Evans' office. As they discussed the script, one of the men picked up a small silver bell and played with it. The tiny noisemaker magically transported the writers to the sidewalks of New York. As they began to think about the way streets and display windows were decorated, the attitude of happy store managers and anxious shoppers, and the looks on expectant children's faces, the song they needed for Bob Hope and co-star Marilyn Maxwell's duet quickly came together. The team had been writing hits long enough to know when they had one, so they both couldn't wait to take their latest work to the studio. But before the duo could share their latest composition with Bob Hope, they decided to sing it to Ray's wife. The men were chagrined and confused when the woman giggled as they sang. She doubled over in laughter, and the team wondered what had gone wrong. When Mrs. Evans composed herself, she informed the duo that the chorus was all wrong, that it wouldn't work, she assured them. She pointed out that when others heard it, they would laugh as hard as she had. The song's problem could be traced to the small bell that had served as its inspiration. Livingston and Evans had named their song after the tiny instrument, and the song began, "Tinker Bell, it's Christmas time in the city." As the writers once again listened to the words, they grinned along with Mrs. Evans. They quickly crossed out the word tinker and substituted the word silver. When released, The Lemon Drop Kid was a moderately successful movie, yet the film would have probably been quickly forgotten if it wasn't for the song Silver Bells. Film patrons fell in love with it. The new genre of Christmas song fit well into the new America. After World War II, Americans had moved to urban areas in droves. The migration meant that more and more people were experiencing the bustle of holidays in the city. Livingston and Evans' unadorned description of everything from stoplights blinking red and green, the yellow caution light hadn't been invented yet, to thousands of shoppers rushing from store to store struck a chord with everyone. The bells that anchored the chorus were everywhere too. They rang in cathedral towers, they jingled along horse-drawn carriages, they were constantly chiming in the hands of men and women sinking donations to help feed the poor and needy in the city. Bells, much more than anything else, signaled the coming of the holiday season. Silver Bells fully captured the experience of this song. Bob Hope may have introduced Silver Bells to the world, but it was his friend Bing Crosby who cashed in on the song's market potential. Bing recorded the hit version of the Livingston-Evans collaboration, and soon everyone seemed to be recording it as well. When President John F. Kennedy declared it his favorite Christmas song, Silver Bells rang out loudly in the White House. By the year 2000, hundreds of different versions of that song had been rung up to more than 150 million record sales, proving that JFK wasn't the only one who embraced the sentimental holiday offering as their favorite. After completing The Lemon Drop Kid, Bob Hope continued to sing Silver Bells to U.S. troops at Christmas for more than 4 decades. His work in Vietnam and other combat areas helped make him the most honored private citizen in United States history. Hope's holiday entertainment junkets to the far parts of the globe also earned him the title G.I. Santa Claus. Though they could have retired and lived on the royalties from their Christmas hit, Livingston and Evans continued to write. In 1956, they won their third Oscar for Que Sera Sera, and scored again with the title song from Tammy. Yet it was the theme song for a very unique television series that ranks right up there along with Silver Bells as their most remembered work. The same writing duo composed the incomparable Mona Lisa and incredible Silver Bells, also gave the world the whimsical and silly theme from Mr. Ed. Okay, my darlings, I hope most of you are asleep. And if you are, sweet dreams. And always remember, I love you, I value you, I honor you, and I'm so very, very glad that you were born.